Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Well, on today we're going to be talking about this new budding relationship between Deion Sanders, or Coach Prime, if you will, and actress Karruche Tran. Now, Karruche Tran came on the scene via her relationship with Chris Brown some time ago, and she's kind of been, I'm not going to say under, no, she hasn't been under the radar, but she hasn't necessarily been in the spotlight that she's been thrust into now, being that her relationship has gone public with Deion Sanders. But she has, had a steady stream of films that she's done. Some of them produced by Deion Sanders' ex-girlfriend, or then girlfriend, I should say, Tracy Edmonds, who was previously married to Babyface Edmonds. But anyway, long story made short. So everyone's up in a tizzy about this relationship, being because of the age difference. There is some significant age difference there between them. Now, I, for one, was a little bit weirded out just because of partly because of who Karruche Tran is. Just, yeah, some of the age difference being like that's kind of, I never thought that Deion would date someone that's significantly younger than he is, someone who's the same age demographic of his oldest daughter, Deandra. But hey, I don't know Coach Prime personally, right? Now, personally, I think that Deion never got over his ex, Pilar Sanders. Now, if you recall, Deion and his ex, Pilar, went through a tumultuous divorce. And she kind of drug him through the mud, and it was really, really bad. She was trying to get, I think, full custody. She was saying that he was abusive to the children. I mean, it was a whole lot that was going on, but they had a reality show together. And I think that he never really got over Pilar. He went from being madly in love with this woman to going through this hellish divorce, trying to, take away his children, as he puts it, from him, to being in a new relationship with Tracy Edmonds. I mean, he moved, as unfortunately most men, fortunately or fortunately, however you look at it, moved on quite quickly with Tracy Edmonds. And I don't think he ever really had the time to process what had happened. And, this was his second marriage, his second failure. And I believe that he was truly madly in love with her, just because of the way that it broke him. Now, I say it broke him and that he hasn't gotten over it, because if you ever look at the videos that Well-Off Media has, Shiloh Sanders has, Shadora Sanders has, Shalomi Sanders have, which are, he has other children, but those are the ones that really kind of post quite a bit. I think Deandra does too, but it's more so about her son and, her journey going through motherhood and things like that. But anyway, I believe that in some aspect, because he never wants to be within, 5 feet of Pilar longer than 5 seconds. Like, there was I believe it was Colorado's last game that he had with Shador and Shiloh last year, 2024-2025 season. And it was some kind of like senior walk or something down the field. And Deion walked the two boys, Shiloh and Shador, part way or halfway. And then as soon as, I guess, Pilar is walking up, he books it. Like, I might try to post that video here. Now you can see he kind of quickly speeds off. I mean, he doesn't even get close. No, how you doing? Nothing. Just, okay, she's 5 feet. All right. I'm to the left. I'm out the door. No one should have that much power over you. And I get that they had, let me rephrase that. Two people that have children together the mother shouldn't have that much power over the father shouldn't have that much power over the mother, to where you cannot even, like, you have to maintain a certain amount of distance. You know what I'm trying to say here? I feel like there's still a lot of animosity. There's a difference between, let me work this out. Give me a second. There's a difference between knowing and recognizing what someone what someone's done to you, or how someone hurt you, betrayed you, did you wrong, you know, however you want to put it. There's a difference between recognizing that, seeing that person as that, and being able to forgive enough, especially where there are children involved. Because even though their children are adults, they are still there. They will always be their children, right? They will always have that connection. There is a difference between recognizing who did what to me, but no. Actually, you know what? I take that back. At some point, once you've really moved on from something, you no longer readily pull up those things. You should be so far grown, matured, healed is the term people are using nowadays, from that situation, that you see that person before you see the pain. She represents, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, pain and brokenness to Dion. Also, and not just because of the betrayal and because of things that, not just because of the, the mud fight during the divorce or what was alleged, but also, and this is what I think, Deion Sanders has a really huge ego, and veiled underneath someone with a really large ego is a very little person, right? We all have that little girl or that little boy inside of us, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, that didn't get enough hugs, that didn't get enough love, that didn't get enough of this or that or the other, right? Carrying that. I think because when he chose her, this, beautiful woman, he moved on from his first marriage. I don't know if there was any interlapping. I never heard about any type of, if there were, cheating and I have no idea, right? But when he moved on from his first wife, I think her name is Carolyn, to Pilar, and married her, had 3 children, I believe he found what was it. And for a man that has a really huge ego, strong amount of confidence, top of his game, is someone who, without a doubt, trusts their decision-making skills, trusts their intuition, and I think he knew without a doubt, like, this is it. This is the one. I'm riding off in the sunset. We're going to be having our dentures in, 2 glasses on the porch, and, we're going to, have our great grandkids. Like, this is it. This is my person. And I think that also, because he was so self-assured in that decision, that having that relationship, having that marriage to disband the way that it did, I think it broke him to his core for him to not even be able to choose not to be within even 5 feet for 5 minutes, 5 seconds. I can recall a time when Shiloh was in the hospital for some surgery. I can't remember. I think it was something on his arm, or I can't recall. And they had to, whenever Pilar was coming in, Dion left out. Like, okay, she's on her way. Okay, she's going to be here 5 minutes. I'm out. I think that's a lot of power for someone to have over you, to where you can't even stand 5 minutes, And again, I get the hurt, the pain, the betrayal, everything that transpired. But at what point are you able to forgive, to move on, to let go, and to not see and feel that pain every time you see that person? Or maybe that will never go away. Maybe that's something that he has to truly open up and give to God. Or who knows, maybe that was something he said, if you just get me out of the situation, I'll never speak to her again. And I don't even know if that's godly, to be honest with you. Even though I am a Christian, I do read the Bible. I don't claim to, I'm not the all that knows all, right? But anywho, I feel that he chose, and this is what we're talking about right now, I believe he chose Karruche Tran because she reminds him of Pilar. And Pilar in her earlier years. They're both of Asian and African American descent, that kind of olive colored skin tone, very dark hair, tight eyes, really petite little body. Now I know Pilar has filled out. I don't know if that's just getting older or surgically enhanced, whatever floats your boat, right? Um, but if you look in comparison, they look very much like, especially Pilar in her younger years. And I think there's a part of him, again, this is just my perspective and my opinion. I think because he never truly allowed himself the time and the space and probably, therapy, which a lot of us need, never really allowed himself to, in a healthy way, fall out of love, fall out of missing her, the little stuff, and to completely let go, right? I think and believe that, and this is if he hasn't done it already, because there are rumors that they're already married. I do believe he'll marry her. If they're not married, I do believe he'll marry her, even though I know he was with Tracy Edmonds for 12 plus years. I think the last 3 to 4 years they were engaged, but never made it down the aisle for whatever reason. But I believe that he will marry Karrueche for the fact that, one, she's younger, so it makes him feel young. It makes him feel vibrant. You got to think this is a man who's gone through a lot of health issues over the last, sheesh, oh my gosh, over the last probably almost 10 years. Really been going through a lot of health issues. Had, a battle with cancer last year, and staring the face of, mortality, and she makes him feel young and happy and youthful and excited. That's what a younger person, whether they know it or not, will bring to a relationship. When you're dating somebody significantly younger than you, you're probably either going to feel really young or you're going to be like, I'm too old for this. Either or. And Dion likes to feel young. He likes to, you can tell in his style of dress and his vernacular, his swag, if you will. He is not someone that's going to be riding off in the sunset with some New Balances and some, I say that like I've never seen him wear orthopedic shoes. He needs them, obviously. But he wants to stay as young and feel as young as possible. And she brings that. And also, again, she reminds him of Pilar. And then, yes, she gets along, from what we can tell just from the videos that his children post, she gets along with his children, specifically his sons, who are probably around a little bit more than the daughters, or at least Shalimai, because they're in similar age brackets, right? So their relationship is going to be a lot more relaxed than someone Dion's own age. Because with age and experience and, life and, responsibilities and all those kind of things that come with just getting older, you're probably not going to sit up and play around with somebody that's 15, 20 years younger than you. You know what I mean? The relationship is going to be a little bit different. So she kind of brings in a bond and a familiarity and a coolness that allows him to relax. And somewhere in the back of the mind, an older man with a young woman, it just makes him feel like he still got it. So all in all, I don't have, an issue with their relationship. And not that it's for me to say, boo about. They're people that I'll probably never meet. But I'm just looking at it from so many different angles and perspectives. And I wish them the best. I mean, Karruche Tran is not a spring chicken. I know she's significantly, younger than Dion, but she's a mature woman. She's gone through some things in life experiences. I can't recall her being, I think a lot of the posts that I was seeing on Twitter or X is that, oh, she's ran through and blah, blah, blah. The only people I know she was with is with Chris Brown. I know she's dated since then, of course, but I can't recall her reputation or her presentation, let me put it like that, some people present themselves very well. I can't recall her ever presenting herself as anything less than a lady, to be honest with you. Sure, I've seen her in a couple of, suggestive or provocative tops or outfit. We've all done that, right? I'm going to say we all, but I've done it. I've been 20 something. I've been young. I've had a nice body. I've, dressed. I was always kind of modest. I would flirt between somewhere because grew up so religious. I think I always had a little bit of a containment on myself. But I've teeter-tottered between dressing modest to dressing sexy. I always loved my cleavage, and I didn't have breasts for a really long time. And then finally, once they came through, I felt like, oh my gosh, I have breasts now. I have to. I always have something low cut, and that's just kind of the young and the naivete and the, I guess you're just kind of feeling yourself. But I definitely went through that stage, so I'm not going to knock her. I was never showing my nipples. Let me just say that. I don't know if I can even say that, right? I was always respectful. But yes, I've dressed a little bit sexy or a little bit risque, if you will, sure. But I always presented myself as a lady, and I can tell you this. People always have said that and noticed that about me, regardless. Strangers, families, friends, whomever. Like, you carry yourself very well. So I say all that to say this. I wish them well. And more than anything, really, I wish them happiness. I wish Deion Sanders happiness, specifically because I grew up, I'm probably going to tell my age, he had a show, and this is the show that he had with his ex-wife, Pilar Sanders. I grew up watching him when I grew up, oh my goodness, I think I was in my, I'm not even going to say, but I used to watch the show he had with Pilar on, I think it was Deion's Family Playbook. I used to watch that. A few other, like, mini series or series that he had that kind of documented his life as a coach, the teams that he played. I think one of them was like Trinity School or something like that. And Barstool had a series with him when he was over at Jackson State. So I kind of feel, and he seems to be positive, right? So I've kind of had a perspective of, he's a positive person, and I support positive people across the board. I don't hear about him in drama, and I like that. So I wish them happiness and wellness and wholeness. I'm hoping that he chose, if they are married, that he chose her for the right reasons. And if they're not married, I hope he's choosing her for the right reasons. Otherwise, the relationship at some point will become less fun and will be drained. And even on one end, you can say, well, hey, Karruche, I hear like some of the things that I've been seeing is like people saying Karruche's in her bag, or, that's the way to go, or older, or whatever. She's in it for the money. I think Deion is very financially responsible. I don't see if something happened to him leaving his stuff to her. I don't see him doing that. God forbid. But you never know. But she doesn't come across as, to me, I don't get that vibe. She could have been through a lot of people with her. She's a beautiful young woman, I should say. But you never know. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I wish them well. I'm just offering my perspective and the similarities between her and Pilar. But I wish them well and happiness in 2026 and beyond. And thank you for watching.